Thanks. In response to that question, I think that we need to look at the context in which we are operating currently. At the end of 2018, as part of our Value Education, Value Teachers campaign, we ran a survey of members which received more than 12,000 responses at the time. And one of the questions that we asked was for members to say whether they agreed or disagreed with the statement, "The provision for children and young people with additional support needs is adequate in my school." And 78% of the respondents to that survey disagreed or strongly disagreed with that statement. So that indicated to us that there's a real issue in the minds of teachers about the level of provision for young people. Actually, it featured among the top 3 areas of concern alongside pay and workload at that time. And actually, of those three sort of like top areas of concern for our members, stress around additional support needs provision came out the highest. So in terms of like what we do about the scenario that we're in currently, I think that we have to look at this in the wider context of teacher workload and the demands upon teachers, not just in relation to additional support needs, but also that survey also showed that people were 62 times more likely to report that they were stressed some or most of the time if they had also reported that they were struggling with additional support needs provision in the school, or that they saw that additional support needs provision in the school was inadequate. So in terms of like how we respond to that, I think that there are a number of things that we need to think about. We need to think about class sizes. In the first answer that I gave, we have to do something about class sizes in the interest of addressing teacher workload, but also improving the quality of the experience that all individual young people receive, including those with additional support needs. Because if we reduce class sizes, then there is more time for teachers to devote to all young people in the class, and particularly those who have additional needs. So there's something to think about around that. We also have to think about the fact that over the last 10 years or so, there has been a significant erosion in the number of people who have specialist additional support needs qualifications. So we're seeing, as we move to this kind of assumption and assertion that all teachers are teachers of additional support needs, which is true to an extent, we're also seeing an erosion of that specialism that we used to have in the system that would allow teachers to consult with colleagues who had that qualification, who had that specialist knowledge, in order that they could enhance their own practice, or indeed have additional support with them in the classroom to work with young people, either individually or in small groups, in order that they were not just present at school, but fully included and participating in all of the activities that that are going on. On the point about inclusive pedagogy, there has been a bit of debate recently about whether we take an approach that is based on inclusive pedagogy, which is the assumption that all teachers are teachers of additional support needs, or whether we do look at a more kind of specialist provision. We would argue that it's not either or. One should not preclude the other. It should be both. We have to have all teachers with sound knowledge of inclusive pedagogy, and they have to experience that as part of their initial teacher education experience, but it has to be part of an ongoing, continuing professional learning offer that is made to, and that has to be high quality, has to be funded, has to be made available to teachers on an equitable basis. Because one of the things that we've had reported to us by members over the period of austerity is that the opportunities for professional learning around around additional support needs have also dwindled, and that's something that really has to be addressed if we're going to move forward decisively in order to achieve what were the original ambitions of the additional support needs legislation, which, as I've said, the EIS wholly supports, but we have been concerned for some time now, certainly since the onset of austerity, about the lack of resources to ensure successful implementation of that legislation and all the surrounding values of that.